Every single night, you spend roughly 8 hours in a position that is either actively protecting your brain or quietly putting your cardiovascular system under massive silent stress. In this video, we are looking at the exact sleeping position a top cardiologist recommends to take the pressure off your heart and brain. By the end of this, you'll get the exact blueprint to arrange your pillows tonight to lower your stroke risk. But if you click away, you might keep sleeping in the one common position that actually spikes your morning blood pressure without you even knowing it. We tend to think of sleep as a time when the body just shuts down. You get into bed, you turn off the lamp, you close your eyes, and your body goes into a state of total relaxation. It seems like the most peaceful, low-stress thing you can possibly do. But mechanically speaking, for your heart and your blood vessels, going from standing up on your feet to lying flat on a mattress completely changes the laws of physics inside your body. Think about what your heart does all day long while you are awake. You are standing, walking, sitting at a desk, and moving around. Gravity is constantly pulling your blood down toward your feet. Your heart is a muscle roughly the size of your fist, and it has to beat with enough sheer force to push that heavy liquid all the way back up your legs, through your abdomen, into your chest, and up into your brain. It does this against the constant, unrelenting downward pull of gravity. Your body is used to this vertical arrangement. It is built for it. But then, you go to bed. You lie completely flat. Suddenly, gravity is no longer pulling your blood down to your legs. That vertical challenge is gone. The fluid in your body shifts. A massive volume of blood that was pooling in your lower half suddenly rushes back up into your chest and your head. Your heart is instantly swamped with a different distribution of fluid. It has to suddenly manage a completely different workload. The pressure inside your blood vessels changes the second your head hits that pillow. This brings us to a massive, glaring question. Why do so many strokes and heart attacks happen early in the morning, right after we've been resting? If sleep is supposed to be relaxing, why is the time between 6 in the morning and 10 in the morning historically the absolute highest risk window for cardiovascular events? To understand this, we have to look at what happens inside your arteries as you get older, specifically after the age of 60. When we are young, our blood vessels are incredibly stretchy. They are like brand new rubber bands. If your heart suddenly pumps a bunch of extra blood, or if your blood pressure spikes, those young blood vessels just expand to handle the extra volume. They absorb the shock. But as the decades pass, a natural process called arteriosclerosis takes place. The walls of your arteries stiffen up. They lose that elastic rubber band quality. They become more like rigid copper pipes. When you have a sudden spike in blood pressure inside a stiff pipe, the pipe can't expand to absorb the force. The pressure just shoots straight up. This is exactly what happens in that dangerous morning window. When your brain decides it is time to wake up, it doesn't just gently tap your organs on the shoulder. It sets off a chemical alarm clock. Your body floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. These are stress hormones designed to get you out of bed and ready to face the day. These hormones naturally cause your blood vessels to constrict and your heart to beat a little faster. This creates the infamous morning blood pressure surge. For someone with young, stretchy arteries, this surge is no big deal. But for someone over 60 with stiffer arteries, that morning surge is a massive mechanical test of the vascular system. Now, combine that natural morning pressure surge with the physical position of your body lying flat in bed. You have a recipe for intense vascular stress. And we haven't even talked about the silent threat that acts like gasoline on this fire. We need to talk about sleep apnea. People usually write off snoring as just an annoying habit, something that bothers your partner. But obstructive sleep apnea is not just noise. It is a violent mechanical blockage of your airway that chokes off your oxygen and sends extreme panic signals directly to your heart. When you stop breathing in your sleep, your brain senses suffocation. It triggers a massive fight-or-flight response while you are paralyzed in bed. Your heart rate doubles. Your blood pressure shoots through the roof. And the position you sleep in directly dictates how severe this mechanical choking hazard is going to be. This leads us to the physics of lying flat and what we can call the back sleeper's dilemma. When you sleep completely flat on your back, a position doctors call the supine position, You are putting your airway at the absolute mercy of gravity. Your tongue is a heavy, thick muscle. When you are awake, muscle tone keeps your tongue pulled forward so you can breathe and talk. But when you fall into deep sleep, all the muscles in your body relax. They go totally limp. If you are lying flat on your back, gravity pulls that heavy, limp tongue straight down into the back of your throat. The soft tissue in your airway collapses. It completely blocks the tube. It is exactly like putting a tight kink in a garden hose while the water is turned on full blast. The pressure builds up intensely behind that kink. In your body, the pressure builds up in your chest and your heart. Your lungs are trying to pull air in, but the airway is sealed shut by your own anatomy. Your chest heaves. The oxygen levels in your blood start to plummet. Your brain realizes it is being starved of oxygen, so it hits the panic button. It shoots adrenaline into your bloodstream. This wakes you up just enough to gasp, clear the airway, and take a breath. Here is the craziest part. You can stop breathing for 10 to 30 seconds at a time, dozens of times an hour, and wake up the next morning thinking you slept great. You have no memory of these micro-awakenings, but while you were sleeping, your heart was basically running a marathon. Your blood pressure was spiking over and over again all night long, slamming against those stiffened arteries. And the reason why this specific pressure buildup targets the brain? You won't believe it. When your airway is blocked and your chest is heaving against a closed throat, it creates intense negative pressure in your chest cavity. This negative pressure literally sucks blood back toward the heart, changing the pressure dynamics in the arteries that lead straight up your neck and into your brain. When the airway finally opens and you gasp, the blood pressure rebounds violently. This extreme seesaw of pressure, dropping low and then shooting incredibly high, is exactly what causes plaques in the arteries to rupture. When a plaque ruptures, a clot forms. If that clot travels to the brain, you have an ischemic stroke. So, sleeping flat on your back is mechanically the worst possible position for your airway and your morning blood pressure. It turns gravity into your enemy. But what if you sleep on your side? This is where the anatomy gets incredibly specific and why one side is drastically different from the other. We have to look at the vena cava and the hidden risks of sleeping on your right side. Your heart doesn't just pump blood out. It has to get that blood back. The blood returning from your lower body travels up a massive vein called the inferior vena cava. This is the largest vein in the human body. It is a major highway that carries all the oxygen-depleted blood from your legs, your kidneys, and your liver back up to the right side of your heart. Here is the anatomical catch. The inferior vena cava does not run straight down the middle of your body. It sits distinctly on the right side of your spine. Think of this major vein like a massive, thin-walled water balloon tube. Unlike arteries, which have thick, muscular walls that can hold their shape, veins have very thin walls. They are easily compressed. They are easily squished. If you roll over and sleep on your right side, gravity pulls all of your heavy internal organs down onto that side. Your liver, which is the heaviest organ in your abdomen, sits right on top of the inferior vena cava. When you lie on your right side, the sheer weight of your internal organs presses down on this major highway. It squishes the tube. When you squish the vena cava, you are slowing down the traffic of blood trying to get back to the heart. The volume of blood returning to the heart drops. Your heart is a smart pump. When it senses that less blood is coming in, it panics a little bit. It thinks your blood pressure is dropping, so it compensates by pumping harder and faster to keep the circulation going. Your body releases mild stress hormones to constrict the blood vessels and force the blood up past the squished vein. So, just by lying on your right side, you are forcing your heart to work harder. You are creating a slight, continuous elevation in your blood pressure all night long, simply because your heavy organs are resting on your primary return vein. If you're suddenly rethinking how you woke up this morning, hit that like and subscribe button, because we are just getting to the good part. We know the back is bad for the airway. We know the right side is bad for blood return. To understand why the left side is so special, we have to look at something that sounds like science fiction, but it happens inside your skull every single night. We need to talk about the brain's nightly power wash, officially known as the glymphatic system. For decades, scientists didn't really understand how the brain got rid of its waste. Every other organ in the body uses the lymphatic system to clear out cellular trash, but the brain doesn't have traditional lymphatic vessels. The brain is densely packed with neurons and tissue, locked inside a hard skull. When your brain is awake and working, it produces a lot of metabolic waste. Thinking, processing, seeing, and hearing all generate chemical byproducts. One of the most famous waste products is a protein called amyloid beta. If amyloid beta builds up in the brain and isn't cleared out, it clumps together into plaques. These plaques are heavily associated with cognitive decline, vascular issues, and Alzheimer's disease. Your brain has to get rid of this trash, but it can't do it while you are awake. The brain is too busy. So, when you go to sleep, something incredible happens. The actual cells in your brain shrink. They decrease in size by up to 60%. By shrinking, these cells open up wide spaces between them. Once the spaces open up, cerebrospinal fluid, the clear liquid that surrounds your brain and spinal cord, rushes into the brain tissue. It washes over the shrunken cells, scrubbing away the amyloid beta and all the other metabolic toxins that built up during the day. It is literally a dishwasher cycle for your brain. The fluid rushes in, washes the tissue, and then drains back out, carrying the trash away into your bloodstream to be processed by your liver. This brainwashing system is completely dependent on fluid dynamics, and fluid dynamics are heavily influenced by gravity and the physical position of your head and neck. Studies show that this biological dishwasher works most efficiently in one highly specific sleeping position.